So Nvidia have got something in store for us today, as they have announced that a new GTX 1060 is due to come out over the next few weeks, this time with 3 gigs of frame buffer memory. Now it is using the same processor, that being GP106, as the normal 1060, which may I remind you is 6 gigs. However, there is an important difference in addition to the VRAM differential. This one has 1152 CUDA cores compared to the 1280 in the top tier model. However, the pricing is pretty damn cheap, and it is $199 in the USA with £189 cost here in the UK. Now, to be honest, this move from Nvidia is pretty much a direct challenge to the RX 470 and the 4 gig version of the RX 480. This is both in terms of performance and of course the price tag, which is pretty damn cheap, I must say. The base and boost clock will be the same as the full 6GB version, although compute performance is slightly less, with 4.4 teraflops for the 6GB version and 3.9 for the 3GB version. However, it is still a decent challenge in boost and base clock for the 480, which has 120 base and 1266 as the boost. However, of course, it does have more teraflops than both the variations of the GeForce 1060. And just a quick reminder that the 6 gig version of the 1060 is a fair bit more expensive, and it is $249 MSRP or $299 for the Founders Edition. So the cut down version is significantly cheaper. Another nice thing about this is that the memory speed is exactly the same as is the memory bandwidth and the TDP. So basically the main variations are the unified cores, which are slightly less, the max compute performance, and of course the memory, and the price, of course. As for when the cheaper and cut down version of the 1060 is due to come out, it is due out in August, whereas of course the 1060 came out in July, so it's probably going to come out obviously before the end of the month. It is currently the 18th of August, so it's not going to be terribly long, although do keep in mind, by the way, that the prices I discussed earlier are for the base model. You know, the custom models and other sort of manufacturer models might be more expensive, but it still gives you a rough indication of how much this thing is going to cost. Now obviously the real test for the cut down version of the 1060 is of course going to be in-game performance. Of course there's no figures for that just yet, but given that it's going to be coming out fairly soon, it won't be too long before we see how this fares up against both the 1060 6GB as of course the RX 480 and 470, which, as I said, it is a direct challenge to in pricing and performance, even if the 480 is slightly edging out the 1060 in terms of teraflops and memory configuration, as well as memory bandwidth as well. So it is a challenge, but we'll have to see how it actually works out in real world testing. But it's still an interesting move by Nvidia nonetheless, and it's going to be a very interesting and nice option for people looking to get into PC gaming cheaply, even if it's slightly not matching up in terms of raw specs to the 480. But again, we'll have to see how it turns out in real world testing. So fingers crossed that we get hold of one, because that would be lovely. Thank you very much for watching. I'll see you next time.